Welcome to Inside Magazine here at I-24 News. Do not cohabitate with a man because it's an abomination. Well, this verse from the Bible is the basis for the prohibition of homosexuality in Judaism as well as in other monotheistic religions. Yet many homosexuals demand that religious leaders reconcile their sexual and religious identity. In Israel, being religious and gay can create intense personal drama because it often leads to rejection by families and religious communities. Well, in recent years, more and more religious homosexuals have publicly come out while hoping to attract tolerance to the rabbinical world. Well, some participate in gay pride events and demand to be recognized by their communities. At the same time, some rabbis try to quote-unquote cure homosexuality with conversion therapies that are often controversial. Well, tonight we'll learn about the Israelis who are trying to reconcile religion and homosexuality despite their homophobic religious communities. But society is always changing, as you'll see in this report, Gay and Religious by Michael Blum and Florence Knight. Gay pride in Jerusalem. There are about 5,000 people on the streets. For 12 years, the Holy City's been putting on the colors of the rainbow during the annual parade. But here one won't find floats or extravagant costumes. Nevertheless, the atmosphere is festive and good-spirited. In the procession, dozens of religious people. In the recent years, they've also participated in the gay pride. The rainbow-colored kippah on their heads, they're not ashamed anymore to make their presence seen on the streets of the Holy City. On their t-shirts, one can read these words, "Proud to be a religious gay."
This is a great success. It is always so exciting to see all these people dancing. One of the things we've accomplished through our work is that we've reconnected the people in the parade with their Judaism.
The mere fact that we can parade in Jerusalem, where there is a very important religious community, is coming to affirm that we exist. For years we were told there were no religious homosexual or lesbians, that there is no such thing in this community. We are here to say the opposite. We are here to say that we do exist and have attended the same religious schools. We are not giving up our religious identity, and we want to be part of this world.
However, for the Orthodox Jews, the gay pride parade is a stain on the Holy City's face. Publicizing someone's homosexuality is considered a crime, to the point where the recent years have witnessed violent clashes with the police. Moreover, in 2005, a gay man was stabbed during the parade. Since then, in order to avoid any excess, the gay parade takes place under heavy police protection. This does not deter the protesters, though. If anything, they only become more discreet, just like the man holding up a Torah verse. In the Bible, sexual relations between men are considered an abomination.
It makes me sick. This is a disaster. It's like watching an attack. It hurts me just like a terrorist attack, maybe even worse.
Procreation is a divine command in Judaism. As a result, most of the religious Jewish homosexuals get married, have children, and hide their sexual orientation for fear of being ostracized by the religious community. They form an invisible minority on the fringes of society. Those who admit their sexual orientation feel misunderstood, just like in this Israeli movie where a young religious man explains to his mother that he has not chosen to be gay. The character in the movie, that's him. Chaim Segev played himself on screen. His parents have had a very hard time accepting it. This young student at a Talmudic seminary timidly came out about a year ago.
It really is very, very hard. In the beginning, I got a lot of hostile reactions. People tried to help me, and someone even wanted to talk to one of my rabbis. They were worried for me. They saw it as a disease, as something very serious.
This hostility pushed Chaim to self-doubt, especially since his family wanted to convince him that he can change. This pushed him into participating in conversion therapy.
I know I'm gay. I would like to check if I can change this reality. I am ready to go through this therapy and do whatever I am told to do. The main thing for me is to see if there is a possibility to change. If this is the case, all the better. I would be quite happy to know how. I doubt it, but I'm ready to try anything.
Chaim participates in this therapy through the Etzat Nefesh Association. Etzat Nefesh means soul advice. The association receives anonymous calls from distressed religious people, as can be seen in this clip shot by the association.
Etzat Nefesh, Ayal here.
There were times when I thought about taking my own life. I didn't know what to do with myself anymore.
Like Chaim, some of them are willing to participate in a conversion therapy. They're referred to psychologists who try in every way to make them renounce their homosexuality. Since its inception in 2001, the association claims to have cured several religious people. Nevertheless, it's impossible to know how, since the organization remains very discreet in what concerns its methods, to the point where Etzat Nefesh is regularly accused of brainwashing and homophobia. As for the program's director, he claims to only want to help them by pushing them to abandon their homosexual tendencies.
Prior to the inception of the association, nobody dared to talk about homosexuality. When it would be discussed in the religious circles, people were uncomfortable, saying that it was disgusting. I was answering that, in the contrary, the association had been created with the purpose of helping homosexuals. Some will participate in therapy, some won't. Some will be successful, and some won't. The reason why the rabbis oppose homosexuality is that it destroys the family cell from the inside.
Despite the traditional opposition from the rabbis, increasing numbers of homosexuals have come together to pray. Like this evening in the Gay and Lesbian Center in Tel Aviv, dozens of religious people have met in order to celebrate Purim, the Jewish carnival. During this event, which takes place each year, a biblical text is read celebrating Queen Esther, the one who 2,500 years ago foiled a plot against the Jewish people.
There are many religious people who can't find their place among their families and synagogues. They are not allowed to pray because of who they are. So they have created their own place of worship where they can pray together.
Purim is meant to be the most joyous holiday of the Jewish calendar. As the tradition says, each one must wear a disguise. But beyond these costumes is one of those rare opportunities for these gay people to reveal themselves as they really are.
One should not renounce either the religious practice or his sexual identity.
About 30 kilometers away from there, Rabbi Yosef welcomes us in his home. He's both Orthodox and gay. He's the only rabbi in the country who came out. It took place in 2009 on Israeli TV. An unexpected and defiant confession.
It took me a good few years. It didn't really come in one day. It isn't only the fear of what you're trying to accomplish, but being an Orthodox rabbi and knowing that nobody has ever done this before makes you understand the overwhelming significance that it carries and the immense responsibility. There is no turning back now.
For this rabbi, coming out was the only way to initiate a debate on the subject and make mentalities evolve. In 2008, Ron created HOD, a religious association that has helped more than 6,000 people, a number that continues to grow. His fight? Reintegrating homosexuals into their own religious communities. For Ron, there's no contradiction between living like an Orthodox Jew and his homosexual inclinations.
He who takes it upon himself to observe the Torah understands that this is forbidden. To say that it is difficult for a homosexual, yes, I suppose so. Nobody can deny it. It is the same thing for a heterosexual or for a heterosexual rabbi. There are other difficulties. One should not say, since I deal with an interdiction, then the Torah is no longer applicable, or that one should feel different. The term abomination is used many times in the Torah. We are honest with ourselves. We are not ashamed to be who we are. My world is that of the Talmud, a prayer of Talit and Filin, and my rabbinical degree. This is the world where I live. This is my language. I want to live in the middle of my community and not to be left outside it.
In Israel, homosexuals enjoy many rights. The right to adopt or to serve freely in the army. A community that has no problem making itself visible is the one in Tel Aviv. With its many bars and a very open gay life, the White City has become the gay capital of the Middle East and one of the preferred destinations for gay people from all over the world. The ultra-Orthodox still oppose the privileges awarded to this community. Unable to be at the same time both religious and homosexual, many religious people have thus chosen to live in Tel Aviv. We meet Chaim again in a Tel Aviv bar. The young man organizes an evening reserved for religious homosexuals. For the first time, we're allowed to film, but it has to be done very discreetly. Some of them still haven't come out yet. This evening, they can flirt and dance with no shame.
The thing is that there is really finally a place to meet with other religious Jews in real life, not only on the internet. It is a dream of every religious homosexual to be able to meet someone like him, which is impossible anywhere else.
Inconceivable only a few years ago, these parties are becoming more frequent. Just like Chaim, there are many who come out of the closet and are now publicly claiming a place within their own religious community. Their dream of balancing a gay and a religious life remains difficult, but it's not an impossible task to accomplish. Welcome back to Inside Magazine. We're joined now in the studio by Michael Blum. Hi, Michael. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Bonsoir.
So first question, how many active religious homosexuals are there in Israel?
We don't have the exact numbers for religious homosexuals. Most of them haven't had their coming out. What we do know is the number of religious homosexuals that have approached several organizations, such as the Hod Association created by Rabbi Yosef. We are talking about more than 5,000 people that are religious and homosexual, that have phoned or have been in contact with this association over the recent years.
Now, we don't see any ultra-Orthodox in your report. Specifically, are there openly gay people in this community as well?
It is clear that there are likely as many homosexuals in the ultra-Orthodox community as in the religious or secular communities. But the barriers and the taboo are so strong that it's evident that there is not going to be a coming out in the ultra-Orthodox community. On the contrary, what we know and have discovered with this report is that around 100 ultra-Orthodox men, most of them married, have approached institutions like Hod, a homosexual association, or went the other way to Atzat Nefesh, which we saw in the report, that tries to fight against their homosexual tendencies.
Rabbi Rabbi Yosef, from your report, has he had big problems with his rabbinical superiors?
Il a un parcours intéressant, puisque le Rabbi Yosef...
His story is very interesting, because before he had his rabbinical degree and hadn't yet made his coming out, he went to see the rabbis to take his examination and told them, "I'm homosexual. Do you think I can be a rabbi?" Moreover, after much hesitation, he was finally recognized as a rabbi, and when he came out some years later, There was a big discussion in his community. Can he stay as a rabbi of the community? He stayed with the approval and support of the authorities of Netanya and from the Israeli Rabbinical Council. And he continued to work not only in his community but also to perform marriages. He's an Orthodox rabbi like any other heterosexual rabbi.
Comme n'importe quel autre rabbin hétérosexuel.
We know that there's a gay marriage campaign currently going on in Israel, but what does this homosexual religious community ask for from society?
Alors, les homosexuels religieux, donc les différentes associations...
Religious homosexuals have their different associations because there are many groups with different aims. We can say that their main fight is to be integrated into religious communities.
Ici, il n'y a pas de combat pour le mariage pour tous, par exemple.
For instance, they don't fight in favor of marriage for everybody. This is not a top issue for homosexual religious organizations. I can stress that their fight is aimed at the inside of the communities they belong to. For many years, we saw in the report, religious homosexuals had to quit the religious world to live as homosexuals. Today, their main fight is to be part of their own communities. They want to participate in prayers and to be an integral part of the religious world, while at the same time affirming their homosexuality.
Well, thank you for joining us in the studio here tonight, Michael.
Merci à vous, David.
And thank you for watching. Be sure to join us again next week at the same time here on Insight Magazine.